Good afternoon, everyone. I will welcome everyone formally in just a moment. The groom and then the bride will be processed here in just a moment. They'll come down the aisle and then engage in a ritual, which I will explain later. My name is Rabbi Nate. It's an honor to be here with you all. Tom, why don't you come under the canopy? Come on under. This is perfect.
Breathe and take it in, right, Rhoda?
What's that?
Breathe and take it in, right?
Exactly, 100%. Enjoy.
That would be hilarious.
Brachim habayim b'shem Adonai, may the Infinite One who radiates love and light shine blessings of love and light upon this bride, Bekah, and this groom, Tom, who will be married today, affirming the sacredness of your special relationship in accordance with the customs and traditions of the Jewish people, and in the eyes of the law, in accordance with the state of Michigan and this country. Brachim habayim, welcome to each of you, family, close friends, and wild yahoos, a ruckus and loving crowd indeed. I know Bekah and Tom are so thrilled to get to take this next step with you all by their side. Before we go any farther, I want to make one quick announcement, which is that the lovebirds have asked that none of you take pictures during today's ceremony. They hired a photographer to do exactly that, and they want to make sure that you all get to focus on them, being fully present with the love you feel for them and the love they feel for one another. Plus, they don't want any spoilers, any pictures being posted on social media before the rest of the guests arrive. So any aspiring photographers out there, please kindly wait until the reception later on if you do want to take pictures. Mi adir ala kol, mi baruch ala kol, mi gadol ala kol, hu yivarech et hatan ve'et hakala. May the one who is supreme in power, blessing, and glory bless this hatan, the groom, Tom, and this kala, this bride, Bekah. A moment ago, we witnessed Bekah and Tom circle one another a total of 7 times. These circles were meant to symbolize the new relationship and the new home that they will build together each of them committing to establish its foundation, bringing their full individual selves in generosity and care. And then the last circle together, acknowledging the blending of their two distinct lives into a more whole and perfect union, with you, their loved ones, by their side, to witness and support the two of you along this journey. Bekah and Tom, I want to invite you to take a moment to feel the love coming from all these dear people out here. This afternoon, with this wedding, your hopes are being fulfilled at last. As we know, this wedding was originally scheduled for June 13th, but of course, to put it mildly, life got in the way. Yeah. Tom and Bekah, your time is now. This moment, a merging of two paths into one, the two of you as individuals declaring your love for one another and making official your beautiful and generous and steadfast loving partnership. I'm sure I can speak for everyone when I say how grateful we are after what you two have been through these last few months to be here by your side as you fulfill one another's dreams. To mark this sacred occasion and to express gratitude that indeed you made it alive and well and full of love and aspiration, we are going to sing the Shehechianu, the blessing said traditionally at the beginning of a new experience in Judaism, thanking God for allowing us to make it to this moment alive and sustained. If you know the words or the melody, feel free to join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu vekimanu vehigianu lazman hazeh. Amen. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of all, who has kept us alive, sustained us, and brought us to this season. So the Jewish wedding ritual is actually... Jennifer, this was you.
Aaron, do you want to? Either one of them.
This one, I think this can go down some. All right.
You just want to kind of hold it, Aaron? Yeah.
The Jewish wedding ritual is actually the combination of two different rituals. Erusin is the first ritual, and it means betrothal. Nisuin is the second ritual, and it is the technical Jewish wedding. In olden days, Erusin served as a sort of engagement. It was done first, and through the ritual, the couple became engaged or betrothed to one another. There was no doubt that the second ritual, Nisuin, would happen, but kind of like a modern day engagement and then wedding, it would happen later. This is when the chuppah, the wedding canopy, would be present, and is when the couple would fully consummate their marriage. In contemporary times, these two rituals have almost exclusively been combined to form a single ritual, Kiddushin, which encapsulates the full wedding ceremony and renders the couple married and sanctified to one another. That is exactly what we are going to do today. Over a glass of wine, we will perform the ritual of Erusin, sanctifying this moment and betrothing you to each other. And then we will exchange rings. That's Erusin. We will read an excerpt from the Ketubah, the Jewish marriage license, as a transition between rituals. And then we'll close with Nisuin by reciting 7 more blessings over a second cup of wine. You'll hear some words from me. You'll be blessed by and with your parents. You'll have your first smooch as a married couple, and then you'll stomp on the glass and be on your merry way. Sound good? Now, there are a lot of blessings in what I just described, and much of those blessings will be in Hebrew, which I know is foreign to many of you, but that's okay. I want to invite you to try to let the ancient words and music wash over you. And then at the end of each blessing, I will prompt you with, and let us say, and you can respond, Amen. A crucial affirmation of your presence and your support for this beloved couple. So I want to practice real quick, one time. Ready? And let us say, Amen. Beautiful, you sound great. Your guests are definitely ready. Are you two ready?
Yes.
Let's get started. To kick us off today, we will bless a cup of wine. In Judaism, wine is a marker of sanctity. It is a substance that is believed to have special significance, and so we use it on holy occasions to elevate our consciousness and honor the moment. In this instance, we pour the wine into a very special Kiddush cup or wine glass. This is Bekah's grandparents' Kiddush cup, Deb's parents, Jean and Harold. By using this Kiddush cup at this moment, we are grounding this ritual in tradition as you recognize yourselves in a long line of loving family. The blessing over the wine will then be followed directly by the betrothal blessing itself. You want to hold it? Wait to drink until I tell you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. And let us say, Blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who creates the fruit of the vine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al harayot ve'aser lanu et ha'arusot v'iter lanu et ha'nisuot lanu al yedei chuppah v'kiddushin. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh amo Yisrael al yedei chuppah v'kiddushin. And let us say, Blessed are you, source of all life, spirit of the universe, who has made us holy through your commandments and instructed us regarding the sacredness of intimacy. You have joined us together like the first creation under the wings of the divine presence. And through God's grace, you have permitted us to wed under the chuppah and in holiness. Blessed are you, Hashem, who makes God's people, Yisrael, holy under the chuppah and in sacred marriage. Bekah and Tom, you may drink the wine. All right, if you want to grab the rings that you will be giving to one another. In Judaism, the roundness of the rings that we exchange is a symbol of the infinite love of the divine and the infinite love of beloveds to one another. Like the circles of the ring, may your love know no end as you grow old together and evermore in love for many decades to come. Your rings are unadorned, smooth and solid like your relationship, which needs no adornment and is whole and solid through and through. With this exchange of the ring, you have chosen to recite a line from Song of Songs, a passage that speaks of the incredible love that you two share and the commitment you are now making with these rings. Through this special recitation, with your family and friends as witnesses, Bekah and Tom, you become legally bound to one another. Bekah will begin with you. Please place Tom's ring on his index finger, which is said to have a direct connection to the heart. Tom, you'll be able to move it to your ring finger after the exchange. Bekah, why don't you hold on to it as you say the recitation. Simeni.
Simeni.
Chachotam.
Chachotam.
Al. Libecha.
Libecha.
Kachotam.
Chachotam.
Al. Zroecha.
Zerohecha.
Let me be.
Let me be.
A seal.
A seal.
Upon your heart.
Upon your heart.
Like the seal.
Like the seal.
Upon your hand.
Upon your hand.
All right. Tom, you may now give Bekah her ring while reciting the verse. Simeni,
Simeni,
Chachotam,
Chachotam,
Al,
Al,
Libech,
Libech,
Kachotam,
Kachotam,
Al,
Al,
Zroech.
Zorach.
Let me be
Let me be
a seal
a seal
upon your heart,
upon your heart,
like the seal
like the seal
upon your hand.
upon your hand.
Bekah and Tom, may these rings be a forever reminder of the love that is in your hearts and that led you to this day. Just before this ceremony began, Bekah and Tom signed both a secular civil marriage license as well as the traditional Jewish marriage document known as the ketubah. The ketubah, which has been signed as part of Jewish weddings for thousands of years, lays out the loving commitments that Bekah and Tom have vowed to one another. And you all will get to hear a few key lines from that document in just a moment. But what is key about this document, beyond the content of the commitments that Bekah and Tom have made, is that there be at least 2 witnesses who attest to the promises the couple have made. It's actually the act of these witnesses signing the document that makes the ketubah kosher. Because we know that relationships are many things, including challenging. And we know that when those challenges arise, it is crucial that we have dear friends who love us enough to hold us when we need it, to challenge us when we need it, to listen to us when we need it, and to do everything they can to support the couple in living out their commitments to one another. Today, Jennifer and Mike served as Bekah and Tom's ketubah witnesses, and we are grateful to you for doing so. And we also know that supporting a couple takes a village, and that every person present here has the unique ability to love and support these two. That is why the chuppah, this wedding canopy, is open on all sides, because while Bekah and Tom are under the canopy, the walls, the support structure, is all of you. You each carry the holy task of being a champion and cheerleader for their relationship. So I'm going to read a few lines now from the ketubah, first in English and then briefly in Hebrew. And if, after hearing what Bekah and Tom are committing to, you feel like you are ready to commit to being those supports, to being the walls of their new home together, I'll invite you when I'm done to give some kind of positive affirmation to the couple. This could be a mazel tov, or a yeah, or a way to go, or whatever you want to shout out loud. When I conclude my reading, that's when you'll get to show your support. Together, we will create a loving home filled with trust, laughter, and joy for life, a place of passion and compassion, and a sanctuary of peace and tranquility. We will be faithful to this pledge throughout life's pleasures and challenges. May we be ever mindful that our days are a gift from God, and ever grateful to awaken each day together. The miracle of love seals this document. Mi yiten uleolam nizkor v'nodeh ki chayenu hamshutafim hem matanat ha'el chazak chazak v'nitchazek. Now it's your turn to affirm. I also want to extend the affirmation and love and support of Temple Beth Israel here in Jackson. I was on services with them this morning, and they wanted to make sure that you heard their affirmation as well, and what a joy to be standing under the temple's chuppah.
Thank you.
All right, friends, we now celebrate the second ceremony, Nisuin. The blessings that are about to be shared express our gratitude for the miracle of life in general, and the sanctity of married life in particular. Because there are 7 blessings in all, they have come to be known simply as the Sheva Brachot, the 7 blessings. I'd like to invite those honored with offering these blessings to please come forward and line up in numerical order behind the microphone. In our tradition, 7 carries special significance. It is a number of wholeness and holiness. It is the number of Shabbat, the 7th day, and thus the number of peace. So as I chant the traditional Hebrew, and we invite your designated loved ones to bestow these blessings on you in English, we pray that these 7 blessings bring blessing on each and every day of each and every week of your life together. And as we did before, we will fill up a second glass of wine to signal the sanctity of the moment. This second Kiddush cup, this wine glass, is actually the first piece of Judaica, of Jewish ritual objects that Bekah and Tom have purchased together. So while we began with lineage and ancestry and history before with Jean and Harold's glass, now we move ahead and affirm the future of Bekah and Tom's life together. You can hold on to it and then wait till the very end. Yeah, to drink. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Blessed are you, God, who brings forth fruit from the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shekol bara lichvodo.
Blessed are you, God, who shaped all of creation in the spirit of honor and glory.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer ha'adam.
Blessed are you, God, who creates human beings.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher tzat adam b'tzalmo b'tzelem demut tivnito v'yitkin lo mimenu binyan ha'de'at. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer ha'adam.
Blessed are you, God, creating human beings in your own image, establishing those human beings as the foundation of an everlasting stream of creation. Blessed are you, God, who creates human beings.
Sos tasis v'tagel hakara b'kibutz binea letocha b'simcha. Baruch atah Adonai mesamech Sion b'vaneha.
May all whose hearts were closed now feel openness and joy. May fields that were dry now be blessed with rain. May we gather in our loved ones who had previously been scattered. Blessed are you, God, who rejoices in resilience and togetherness.
Sameach tisamach re'im ha'ovim kisamechacha yitzirecha began eden mikedem. Baruch atah Adonai mesamech chatan v'kala.
Bestow joy, O joyful God, on these beloved companions, just as you bestowed joy on your beloved creations in the Garden of Eden. Blessed are you, God, who brings joy to those who join together in a covenant of love.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bara sason v'simcha chatan v'chala. Asher bara sason v'simcha chatan v'chala. Gila rina diitza v'chedva ava ve'achva ve'shalom ve'reut. Meher Adonai Eloheinu yishama b'arei Yehuda u'chutzot Yerushalayim kol sason ve'kol simcha kol chatan ve'kol kala. Kol mitzalot hachatanim mechupatam ve'ne'arim memishte neginatam. Baruch atah Adonai mesamech chatan imachala.
Blessed are you, God, who created joy and gladness, lover and beloved, rejoicing, dancing, and celebration, love, friendship, peace, and solidarity. O God, let there soon be sound of joy and happiness in all of our cities and all of our streets. The voices of those who join together in loving covenant, and the voice of lovers who exult from within the shelter of their love and community. And the voices of all who rejoice at tables, overflowing with wonder. Blessed are you, God, who brings joy to those who love.
Let us say, Amen. You may drink the wine. So before we end today, I want to say just a few words and offer a brief blessing alongside the parents of the couple. Bekah and Tom, when we first spoke, your love for one another was exceedingly clear. The way you spoke about each other radiated thoughtfulness, sweetness, compassion, gratitude, and amazement. You turned to each other as I asked you to share about why you love one another, and you beamed. And if I hadn't cut you off, it was clear that you could have gone on laughing and blabbing for many more minutes or hours even. Bekah and Tom, you met at Bekah's work where Tom would come visit a couple of times per week. One time early on, Bekah, when a coworker asked you what you thought of Tom, like the beginning of all good love stories, you said, "Meh, you didn't really give Tom too much thought." But perhaps you were just fooling yourself, because you also said that you could always hear him come in by his significant laugh and giggle, and that you would go to the coffee machine just to see him. For 4 months, all summer long, you seemed to notice him just all right, until one day when Tom walked into your office and saw you looking at an interesting news article and asked you, "Is that what your boyfriend does?" "I don't have a boyfriend," you replied. In that moment, in Tom's head, he shouted, "Bingo." When Tom texted you later and asked you to dinner, you said yes, and the rest is history. You started off seeing each other a couple of nights a week at first, and then a couple nights a week turned into 3 or 4 nights a week. Then you started enjoying each other's company more and more and more, thinking, "Oh, this is actually kind of cool." And before you know it, you didn't want to spend any time apart. Tom, you described how this relationship was unrecognizable to you and unlike anything you had ever experienced. And you started asking yourself why you had never felt like this before. Part of the reason you understand is because of how independent Bekah was. On our first call together, you told me how you were so impressed with her patience, how secure she is, how strong she is as an individual. You told me that you loved how you never felt like she needed you. And although she might not have needed you, you certainly needed her. You told me on that same first call that you needed to be touching her every night when you sleep just to know she's there. Tom, you love how easy intimacy is with Bekah. You feel like you can tell her anything and it is going to stay with her, that she's a vault. This one has never been a question or doubt, you told me. "I'm a doof," you said. "I have no idea why I got so lucky, but I did." And Bekah, for you, you went from not giving Tom much thought to telling him to your own surprise one morning after a particularly social night where Tom was sad because he felt like you had been more interested in chatting with the attendees of a particular function than spending time with him. "If I could marry you, I'd marry you tomorrow." Something must have taken hold of you in that moment, Bekah, because as you described in our first meeting, it was incredibly wild to be saying that. Everyone who knew me knew I wasn't going to get married. Such a crazy, secure, comforting feeling that it just felt right. Nothing I ever experienced, never anticipated. We'll be able to tell this story 30 years from now. Bekah and Tom, there's not a day that goes by that you don't laugh with or at each other. You two take life seriously, but there are those moments when you kind of check out and giggle and everything else goes away. And how crucial of a skill that laughter and sense of humor has been for the two of you, given what you have gone through in the last few months. Tom, when you tested positive for coronavirus a couple of months ago, and you were on the edge of tragedy for weeks on end, it was your love for one another and your heart's connection that literally saved your life and allowed us to reach this day. After your recovery, Tom, you told me that while you were in the hospital, hanging on, that Bekah was your will to live. You described seeing her hair and having that hair serve as a kind of anchor to the world of the living, something you could hold on to as you fought for your life with everything you had. You described how the first time you opened your eyes, after being unconscious for days on end, you heard this one giggle and you knew you had made it. And that each slow step of recovery, each painful breath that you had to labor through was to get home to Bekah. Tom and Bekah, you have made it. You're home. Bekah and Tom, your love and your partnership has been tested in these last few months in ways that nobody should have to experience in their lifetimes. And yet you have come through it stronger, more grateful, more together, and more in love than ever before. I know how important it was to each of you to make sure this wedding happened as soon as possible. You two know in an extremely personal and deeply intimate way just how precious and fragile life can be. And you are sure, absolutely positively sure, that you do not want to spend another day, another moment not living your lives as a married couple. This marriage today is your next step, marking the pinnacle of your relationship. You've called it the joining of us, teammates for life, becoming full force, solidified. But you know that as important as this day is, your joining has already occurred. You are already teammates, forged in the fire of fear and the great unknown. You are already full force and solid as a rock. Surrounded by family and friends and rooted in your tradition, Bekah, today, this evening, you get to celebrate just how far you've come and ritually mark the truth of what is already in your hearts. Bekah and Tom, every morning when you open your eyes, and God willing, may that be until you are each 120 years old, may you awake to the giggles and the laughter of your beloved. To close today, I want to invite the two of you to join your parents as we offer one final blessing. So we'll make your way, Tom, over to your parents, and Deb, come on up. The oldest biblical text that we have found, known as the priestly blessing, the Birkat Kohanim. This blessing is part of a passage in which God, through the priests, blesses the people Israel and demonstrates God's love to us. Bekah and Tom, I want to offer you this blessing today with the help of your parents as a formula or guidepost for you and your love for each other. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and guard you.
Bekah and Tom, may you bless one another with your love, your care, your candor, and your kindness. And may you guard one another as you have already done so profoundly in your relationship together, protecting each other from the harsh decrees that life may have in store, giving of yourselves to shield the other from the pain and sorrow of life, steadily by the other's side with love and care for the rest of your days. Ye'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May the light of God's face shine upon you and bring grace.
Bekah and Tom, may you let the light of your spirits and of your souls and of your hearts shine through. May you illumine the dark spots in one another and make even more brilliant all of the brightness within each other. Let your love shine with graciousness, compassion, and devotion. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May Adonai's face lift unto you and give you peace.
Bekah and Tom, may you continually lift up your own faces to one another, looking the other in the eyes, facing each other with tenderness, with dignity, and with respect. And may you lift up each other's face when the other is down or bent or weary, with thoughtfulness, patience, and admiration. And Bekah and Tom, may you, through your actions, through your very beings, bring wholeness to yourselves, to each other, and to the world. Through this partnership, may you and may we all experience a little more peace. And let us say, we'll return to the chuppah. The final rituals in today's ceremony are the pronouncement of Tom and Bekah as husband and wife, and then the breaking of the glass. Breaking the glass is customary in Jewish weddings to hold, alongside all of our joy, the pain and brokenness that still exists in the world. By breaking the glass, we send love to all those people and all those places that do not yet feel whole. And we affirm our commitment to helping to heal that brokenness through this union and our collective deeds. The breaking of the glass also signals the official end to the wedding ceremony, and that's the time when you all get to shout as loud as you can, Mazel Tov. But first, the pronouncement. Bekah and Tom, rooted in the Jewish tradition and surrounded by loving family and friends, you have expressed your love and commitment to one another. And so, it is with all of this in mind that I pronounce you husband and wife. The two of you may smooch and then break the glass.
Get it, babe.
Mazel tov! Simin tavu, mazel tavu, mazel tov, and simin tavu, mazel tavu, mazel tov, and simin tavu, mazel tov, and simin tov. Yehelanu, 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 ulecho Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulecho Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulecho Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulecho Yisrael. Congratulations to all of you. Mazel tov. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening and get to support this lovely couple on their journey of marriage.